Tonight, on my team, we aim for another pole position. Things are rather sunny, and then things get a bit moist. Hello, you sumptuous specimens, and welcome back to the F123 My Team career mode. Yes, I respect it has been a while, but we are back like we never left to give Ribena Racing some more zest. Here at the British Grand Prix, and we're going to get straight into things because, well, we've got quite a lot going on here. There are the upgrades, thanks Mr. Clean. That's the performance index. As you can see, we are still on the march. And here, I clearly decided I didn't have enough downforce, so I'm going to buy some downforce, specifically, actually, drag reduction. So that's not downforce. But with that upgrade on our wagon now, let's see what magic we can conjure up as we head into qualifying. No more beating around the bush. No more questioning my Friday night protocol. We're here at Silverstone, the birthplace of the modern Formula One World Championship all the way back in 1950. And what history could be written today? Well, fasten your seatbelts and let's get straight in to the end of Q1, because I'm going to show you right now, once again, as we have been for the previous few races, we were right on the money, no question about that. Across the line with a 1 minute 25.1, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is P2. It's P2 already. We are on fire at our home Grand Prix. Oh, hello. It's not the typical suspects. Lewis Hamilton at the top of the standings. Oh, for God's sake. Enzo, we're going to have a very stern conversation at the end of this weekend. 3 words. You and R and fuck. Your ears might be bleeding, but your eyes certainly won't be in this qualifying session. I can guarantee that. Here for the first section of our Q2 lap, right at the end of the session. It's a full qualifying, of course, because I neglected to mention, it's a 50% race. We've gone full send for this weekend. Our first 50% race in God knows how long. But through the first section there, using all of the track we can possibly use. Millimetric precision through the final sector. You can actually go on the throttle at the end of the lap. That wasn't English, but the point is, crossing the line, and we're P1! Oh, yes. And once again, it's that man, Lewis Hamilton, our closest challenger. So we are amongst royalty in Formula One. 2 world champions in the top 3. And Max Verstappen. What? What? I'm allowed to be optimistic. Can you stop laughing? Fine then. Well, looks like we'll have to cast the shadow of doubt over the heads of our competitors and instead bring us the burning light of eternal glory through the final corners and here for a lap of the Silverstone circuit, right at the brink. Full throttle through the first corner, obviously. Use as much curb as you dare. Hug the inside, brake between the 150 meter boards, and use as much of that apex as possible. Try not to clip that sausage, because that isn't very safe. At the exit, use as much of the curb as you dare. Try and get the car straightened up as quickly as possible, and the tyres will bite into the bitumen with great effect. Down the Wellington straight, braking just after the 50 meter board. Allow the front end to just coax itself into the apex. Early apex for me here at Luffield, just so I can get the car straightened out. Narrowing off the line at the beginning means I can cut in at the end and really put on the burners. Up to Copse Corner now. In theory, it should be flat out. Do we go flat out? Yes, we do, and comfortably as well. Goodness me, the aerodynamics hunkering the car down to the floor as we head through the Magnussen-Beckett's complex, using as much of the curb as we damn well dare. A quick change down to 5th gear, and then DRS flap wide open, sucking up some sumptuous clean air and getting ourselves a restraining order, slamming our way down towards Stowe, flicking the car in. Cinematic shot for you all, managing to just keep it on the track, and only a couple of corners between us and a bid for possibly pole position. I have no idea if it's been good enough. We've been a bit ropey at times. Across the line, it's hardly faster than our Q2 time. Have we done it? Yes! Oh my gosh, we've done it! There it is! There it is. The sum of the surprise has been eroded from my expression because we've been here so many times before. Pole position. And it's, oh my God, it wasn't even far. Jesus Christ, Russell. Well, in the end, the protagonist I thought was going to get 2nd place, actually didn't manage it in the end. Hamilton down in 4th, which, considering where Mercedes have been in previous races, they'll happily accept that. But George Russell is the one that's right on our gearbox in this qualifying session. But unfortunately for him, it's no consolation. Pole position for us by the tiniest of margins almost. incredibly, and Max Verstappen in 7th. My goodness me, the top 3 teams, quote-unquote, because we're faster. But Verstappen nearly getting usurped by Norris as well, incredibly. My goodness me, that's all happened, hasn't it? Well, if that's the grid for the race, then bring it on. Let's go get the win.
The home of British motorsport and the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Grim Reaper lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Hamilton, Sainz, Leclerc, Verstappen, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Albon, Gasly, Bottas, Ocon, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Hülkenberg, Sargent, Zhou, Tsunoda, Fittipaldi, De Vries, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. Now, can I get your take on Max Verstappen? And we welcome Anthony Davidson to the commentary box once again. And this driver had a great win last time out. Can they carry that momentum into this one?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
The adoring home crowd at our mercy. Let's do this. 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for our home Grand Prix, and it's a good start versus Russell. Incredible start. Russell actually drops anchor. Hamilton up into second briefly, but it's Sainz that rings around the Mercedes driver up into P2 for the Scuderia. It's a British a British driver in first, in third, and in 5th. We're really liking our odd numbers today. Hopefully it doesn't put us at bad odds for the rest of this race. Jesus Christ! Sainz with an incredible exit out of the first few corners. To the outside he goes, but he's never going to win that battle. Shoving out the cold shoulder to the outside. It really is a dish. Best served ice cool, but that is not cool. It is for the crowd. Style points have been awarded, but towards Copse Corner, we're looking vulnerable then. Although Sainz with, well, a mediocre exit to say the least. This is the history of the Ferrari. We actually went a bit wide into Copse there, but Sainz now all over the back of us. The AI meteoric through that corner and through Maggots and Beckett. We really feel the opposition snapping at our heels. Hungry alligators looking for their next prey. And unfortunately, we are the prey. We are the definition of prey right now. But Hamilton is not done yet. Here he goes on Carlos Sainz, the home favourite, surely 7 times a world champion, looking for glory here. And still side by side with Carlos Sainz. Hamilton not giving this up in a hurry as we go wide into the left-hander. We're having all kinds of problems dancing on ice. Hamilton currently in P2 and actually takes second place. Incredible! Lewis Hamilton is having a great run of things, but here's a replay of the start. Meanwhile, I can hardly contain my excitement as the 5 red lights go out. There's George Russell being himself. Meanwhile, here's us scampering into the lead like a rampant rabbit. Sainz going round the outside of Hamilton in the background there, and it's just a procession through the first few corners after that, all the way through Village and into the next corner, the left-hander. We get a decent exit, but Sainz absolutely rockets out of that corner and chasing us down like Saturn V. And that's ominous, to say the least, if that's the kind of battles we're having to do on lap number 1, luckily curtailing the threat. But if that's what Sainz can do, I dread to think what everyone else has in store. I mean, it's a purple sector 1. Perez and co have actually dropped behind. Perez starting on the soft, giving Sainz a good run at things. Oh my god, Hamilton's got the momentum. Down the inside into Copse. We tried to hold it, but Hamilton's through. What? That seemed way too easy for him. Yes, now we've got the slipstream, but he absolutely rinsed us through the right-hander. And suddenly, going for the lead in the championship, we've been taken back to school again. It's re-education season for the Ribena Racing faithful. Yes, now we've got the slipstream of Hamilton, which is great news. But if that's the kind of pace he's showing early on, then that is a bad omen for the rest of our race. Luckily, on lap number 3 here, with DRS enabled, ignore how wide I'm going. I'm actually having a breakdown in talent, because yes, I still got DRS, but I'm sliding to no end through Maggots and Beckett's. Tyre temps are all okay and whatnot. Absolutely fine there. All the vitals are fine. I'm not... But certainly our hopes for a British Grand Prix victory are crying out for resuscitation here, because I just can't keep up with Hamilton currently. His race pace is absolutely astonishing. Completely out of this world. And yes, we have a best last... What? Oh my god, we're so screwed. Looking further down, though, here's Carlos Sainz, and he's down in 10th place. So, I mean... I'm not even angry. I'm literally just disappointed again. It's not Sainz's fault. It's Ferrari's fault completely. The prancing horse now has gangrene everywhere, and that is the resulting caterpillar. And Sainz is probably wishing he was driving an actual caterpillar, because my goodness me, things couldn't get much worse for him after the start he had, being usurped by Hamilton at the end of lap number 1, and then now being pretty much outside of the points, being haunted by the likes of Pierre Gasly and the Alpine, etc. McLaren's Piastri also looking for some more points in this season. So that'll be an interesting dynamic. For us, it's not interesting at all. That's why I've said next to nothing. We've just been trying to keep in DRS range of Hamilton. But things are about to get a lot worse for us. And by that, I mean George Russell is now well within our slipstream range. And well within having his flap open, which I'm calling for a restraining order on, don't worry. George Russell doesn't understand the definition of go away, though, and just like that in a corner, he's once again back within our DRS range. And I don't really know what I'm doing wrong here. I mean, I got pole position, and suddenly in the race, it seems like I'm falling like a brick. It's absolutely horrible, and Russell is only a few tenths behind us now. He's absolutely reeled us in, and that's a whole different kind of kettle of fish here. We have got real problems in this race now. I can't even speak. I've been rendered absolutely speechless. I'll tell you what else will make people speechless. Sainz being overtaken by my teammate. Let's go. That's how we do it. Enzo Fittipaldi, driving for his career in Formula 1, has put a move on the prancing horse. He's the greatest of all time. Lap 6 of the British Grand Prix. And I'm thinking of a word beginning with D and ending in impression. So Russell now pretty much within 2 tenths of us. Our straight line speed is the only thing that is saving us at this point. Once we get DRS, we're absolutely flying. But then we see a corner and my car goes, no you. Russell's now going for a move round the outside into the second to last corner. That's a mockery. So we say shut up with your face. Push him out to the outside. But things are getting very, very doom and gloom here at our home Grand Prix. What should have been a very, very comfortable start to the race, where we really should have faced no problems, realistically, has turned into the worst nightmare possible, as we're trying to just hang on to the coattails of the Mercedes cars. Hamilton now outside of a sec. This has not gone well whatsoever. Every passing moment, we are becoming more and more vulnerable here at our home race under the Rolex banner, and it is time to start panicking. It really isn't on our side, and we have to really pull our socks up if we're to find any kind of life and long-lasting hope of getting even a slight chance of a race win. It's actually not happening. And Russell is now our biggest concern. Not only that, Perez has actually caught up massively to the back of us. Because I've been just hanging on to Hamilton and because I haven't had a chance to get past him, Russell's now thinking about Maggots and Beckett's as an opportunity. And that is not safe whatsoever. And, well, I haven't got DRS, so this is about as predictable as Star Wars 8's writing. George Russell actually nearly hits the back of us, so he's bad. But then he's not bad because he's rinsed us. He's rinsed us. And I don't even have the words to say, genuinely. And Perez is now going for a move round the outside. Again, we say no thank you, sir. Stay away. But I genuinely can't believe this. We're struggling to hang on even to a podium here. Luckily, however, things weren't all bad. On to lap number 9 here, and Russell actually couldn't catch Hamilton. Hamilton is absolutely flying in this race. He's here to stake his claim back in the championship hunt. Mercedes bought some upgrades, big upgrades to this race, and it's clearly paid off. Hamilton absolutely flying, Russell also flying, but not as much so. And that means we can pikey his slipstream, really give it a good old suck. And I do like a good old suck. As we get very close to the rear end of Russell, getting jiggy as you like. But into Stoke, clipping the curb loads. And that's wider than your mum. Into the final sets of corners is actually the battle between Verstappen and Leclerc behind. that I'm interested in. Those two keep fighting tooth and nail and are actually losing so much time to this battle of us, Russell and Perez up ahead. 5.3 seconds the gap, but Leclerc with DRS re-overtakes Verstappen. So things not all going Red Bull's way and the current reigning champion's way by any stretch of the imagination. Here we are, lap number 11. Once again, it's DRS time, but Perez is looking to try and put the sword in our podium hopes as we try and shove him as far outside as we can. We do the same into Stowe, and he is a big pussy-o. We've reached the fulcrum point of this race, and genuinely, this has been the whole thing. Albon's 5th! What on earth is going on in this race? It's just as Oh, Hamilton's in! Okay, the first of the leaders to pull the trigger then, and it is your race leader. So Lewis Hamilton onto a fresh set of hard tyres. Verstappen also pitting a bunch of cars behind. Pull the trigger here at the halfway stage, and you can see some clouds in the background there, because things are about to get very British. And by that I mean it's going to start raining cats and dogs as we get towards the end of this race. So Hamilton comes out onto the hard tyres and, well, it doesn't really... We're going to have to pit soon anyway because the mediums won't last until the rainy stage, no matter what we try to do, no matter how much whispering we try and do. Russell then, next to come in, and we're going to follow him in as well. Perez also pit, by the way, on that same lap. I apparently didn't see it, so my apologies. But at the end of lap number 14, here we are into the pits with our Pirellis more broken than the ozone layer as we trundle at 37. Frickin', I can go faster in my car than that, goodness me. But anyway, while the likes of Russell and Hamilton have gone onto hards, I've gone the other way, onto the soft tyres. Ronaldo's deafened me, and it's imperative we don't have a mistake. We've had a mistake. We've actually had a mistake. These absolute pillocks. So my pit crew would lice, and as a result, we are well behind George Russell, when really we probably should have come out ahead of him. But we'll ignore that, because I'm not cross, and instead let the tyres bite into the bitumen. Away we got on Perez. Perez has undercut us. Perez has actually undercut us. This race couldn't get much worse if it tried. No! Stop! Optimism Overlord has entered the building as we have a purple middle sector to our name. Verstappen sets the fastest lap meanwhile. His battle between him and Charles Leclerc rages on even more for 5th place in this race, but he is catching slowly but surely. However, with our soft tyres, we should be, emphasis, absolutely fine. Let's find out. Try to get in DRS range of George Russell. For some reason, him on hard, he's on crack. Addy Hash gives you speed. As we head through Brooklands and into Luffield, finally the tyres are up to life and we're gaining some decent time on the Mercedes man as he himself catches up to Sergio Perez. And we're getting away from Leclerc and Verstappen all the while as we set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Here we go. Now we're starting to cook, bringing the pot to a boil. Coming up to casserole, Checo Perez. I'm looking forward to this, in theory. I'm going to regret saying that, aren't I? Well, there's only one way to find out. Copium through onto the end of lap number 17, then a purple sector 1, a green middle sector, and we're surely going for another fastest lap at the end of this, although Russell's still keeping us at arm's length despite being on the hard tyres. Unbelievably, the soft tyre gamble not really working that well, but the clouds of doom are descending. Not for us though. 1 minute 26.7, all is not lost just yet. The extra point still well within our possession, and I'm very happy about that. Now, if you look at the minimap though, Hamilton's gone. Hamilton, this is vintage Lewis Hamilton. This is actually today's Lewis Hamilton if Mercedes had actually grown side pods last year. It's amazing really when I think about it. It's like, I don't know, like F1 cars have had side pods for the last, 50 years or something. Anyway, George Russell going for the move on Perez here, and things getting very frosty between them. Perez actually holding off the Brit, and we're going to try and go round the outside. No, of course it doesn't happen. Are you kidding? I mean, what did you expect, honestly? Purple sector 1 for us, though. We are still absolutely flying on these soft tyres. They're not looking to end their life anytime soon as we head through cops. Ignore. Don't ignore that, though. Russell trying to ruffle the feathers of Checo Perez, the Mexican minister of driving very slowly. And as you can see, he's lived up to his name because Russell takes P2. A Mercedes 1-2 currently. That's not something they'll turn their snout up at. Meanwhile, I sniff an opportunity past Perez, trying to go around the outside of Russell, going for the move. And once again, no, we don't get it done. But we do get past Sergio Perez. And that's more than enough for me, ahead of both our current championship rivals, and the Silverstone surge continues. Through the first sector of lap 19 though, and oh, hello. Ooh. It's getting a bit moist. I feel a bit of deja vu, you know. I really do. I think back to, oh, I don't know, Miami and Imola, where the rain came down, didn't dampen our spirits because we put the final touches, the flourishes on our fairy tale into what otherwise was looking to be a nail in our coffin earlier in this race. You can hear my engineer in the background. I'm frantically asking about the weather report as it... Ignore, just ignore. Meanwhile, looking at Sector 2, and oh no! No, it's Oscar Piastri, who actually was running close to the points, if not just slightly in them, but we've got no time to mourn our further success, because Perez is going for the move once again here. We're planning on pitting at the end of this lap, and we shove a hefty elbow out to the outside. A little bit dirty, but listen, it's all about that mentality, okay? Into the pit lane we go. Meet the speed limit in the wet conditions, and at this point, the track had enough of a shiny sheen to give me the indication that this would be the right move, to come in for the intermediate tyres and really cause some havoc. Into our pit box then. Can it be purple? Oh, yes it can. Thanks again, Ronaldo, for making my eardrums bleed. Onto the intermediates we go. The shiny sheen of the Pirelli tyres will last about, well, 0.6 seconds before they combust. Actually, as we trundle out of the pit lane, though, before I get onto the intermediate conversation, it's quite worrying that Piastri's out again, because it's another Mercedes power unit that goes pop after our Austrian Grand Prix. That's the last thing I wanted to see. The last thing I wanted to see was a Haas nearly overtaking us. That's the best thing I needed to see. DRS disabled on this lap. Okay. Suddenly, I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling a little bit cocky here, as we're the first on the intermediates. Can we really take advantage and swoop into the lead at the Silverstone Grand Prix? Well, onto lap number 22 then. The leaders come in. There's George Russell, and we've gained nothing. We've gained... How? No, actually, no. Rant time. How have I gained no time whatsoever on intermediates? DRS was disabled. That track was wetter than me. Don't ask. But the point is, I've not even caught up or had a whiff at overtaking Russell. How is that physically possible? I swear to God. Oh, this is a bad omen, isn't it? Oh my God, no. No, next thing you're gonna tell me is that the AI is suddenly overpowered here at Silverstone in the wet. That's what you're gonna tell me. And I'm gonna find out the very, very gloomy and dark and dusky and the horrible way. I've got no adjectives left to describe it. Russell's nearly already a second ahead. So let's let cops be the litmus test then. As I go quite wide, Russell gains two tenths. In wet conditions, Russell could take that corner 2 tenths quick. I'm so screwed, aren't I? This is the end, isn't it? Although this might seem like a foregone conclusion. Not necessarily. Let's be optimistic here, because remember, the AI are AI. They don't have human traits like you or I watching this video do, unless you're AI. I see you. Anyway, engineer says there's a problem with Gasly's car. I can tell you what that problem is. He bought slick tyres to a monsoon. He's a complete knob. And all while this is happening, I neglected to tell you that Russell gained 3 tenths on us in Stowe alone. We're in serious trouble, aren't we? This is actually end of lap number 23, through the final couple of corners in front of the adoring home crowd, and I go for some sliding, which is great for the crowd. They're absolutely loving it out there, but if your name's Sergio Perez, you're licking your lips here, aren't you? Oh, God almighty, not this soon! Perez going for the move, and that was on the limit at the... I can't even defend myself. That was actually attempted murder. So while you're typing on your keyboard going, oh, Karl doesn't know how to defend... Yeah, that tumbleweed agrees with you too. No. Perez to the outside. Oh, Jesus. This is getting really ugly for us now. And while we're defending so hard against him, Charles Leclerc is gaining meteoric amounts on the pair of us. Hamilton now has a lead compared to us of 11.5 seconds. The gap to Russell now 6.5 seconds, almost 7 seconds, as we head onto the penultimate lap. Through into Copse Corner we go. And things are just going to get seriously ugly here. I'm going to leave this completely uncut and give you my unfiltered reaction as Perez is trying to really unfilter us. That's not safe. That's not allowed on YouTube. TOS, go away. Why on earth are we in this position, by the way? I'll tell you why. the AI are broken. The AI are still broken. I must confess, oh Jesus, never mind. Perez going for the move once again here, as if I think it couldn't get any worse. Perez finding every single opportunity and every avenue to coax his way through and slide one up the inside. That's not okay. Go away, man. Perez's rear end fetish aside currently on these last couple of moments of the Silverstone Grand Prix. Yeah, like I was saying, the AI is broken completely, and that was not a great exit whatsoever. Maybe I'm just broken as we head through the first corner, go a little bit wide. Perez has momentum out of Narnia as he tries to slide up the inside. Leclerc's on my left-hand side, 3 wide into the third corner. Somehow we come out of it on top. Unbelievably, could have ended in tears. The rainfall really does represent pathetic fallacy as we get a slide on again. Leclerc's going to be all over us. I defend to the inside again. Probably 5 years in jail for that. Leclerc with a send that's going to put me into prison. But I deter the constabulary for just another moment, and Perez once again re-overtakes the Ferrari man. Blimey, can I at least talk about how the AI are broken? Do you know what? It doesn't matter what Perez is going to try and do into cops, because I don't care. I'm going to say what I think. The AI are broken completely. How I went from competing with them in the dry to them being this quick in the wet conditions, I'll have no idea. Look at this, snapping at my heels at every single possible apex. This is not even... I can't even explain it. This is as much pace as I had. I was pushing like absolute mad through every single corner, on every single braking zone, pushing it to the limit, every single traction zone, trying to find the grip. Perez goes for one more move, and the AI update in Canada really has put us in a spot of bother. But in positive news, Lewis Hamilton wins the British Grand Prix. It's Russell in second. It's going to be an all-British podium. And despite our wet weather struggles, we're going to claim a very a pirouetting podium at the end of the British Grand Prix. As if we had to make life any more difficult for ourselves. Leclerc gets Perez at the end. It is points gained in the championship. Somehow we're not driver of the day, despite being frauded the entire end of the race.
Fantastic British Grand Prix, and what a performance it was from our race winners today. Tell me, Anne, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, keeping their tyre temperatures up in the tricky wet conditions was really important. There's not much grip out there at the best of times, and it's 10 times worse if you're out there on cold tyres. So the way they kept the rubber in its proper operating window was a huge advantage today.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everyone played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
Things you love to see, it must be said. And that is Sir Lewis Hamilton winning a Formula 1 race. It's a long time coming, and it's going to happen eventually, and I hope you're all ready for it, because I can't imagine what the reaction's going to be. Probably civil as ever on F1 Twitter. Lewis Hamilton, though, does win a race in 2023. He takes his 104th Grand Prix win, extending his own record in Formula 1 history. We clink the sweet nothings, drink our Sprite Zero. And, well, what is there to say? What is there to say after the encouraging start of the race, the mediocre middle, a very dampening and disappointing final stages of the race? I mean, while I do get a podium, and I'm pretty happy, I'm wondering where all my pace went. Here's Hamilton's times for reference, 1 minute 34, consistently mid-134s, which is fine. Whatever. So that should be the minimum with the pace we're on. We got a 1 minute 38 in the last lap. And even when we had clear air, for one lap we got 1 minute 34. Then we were in the 1 minute 36s. I don't even know, honestly. Do you know what? I'm not even going to... Oh, I know the reason why. Elsewhere, though, Alonso got points. Bottas got a point. Good. Drivers' standings, then, despite the hardships that we faced, the struggles we endured, we have managed to even close up the gap even further to the top of the championship. Just 11 points between us and eternal glory. Enzo's 21st in the chat. He's gone. Enzo, do you know what? Genuinely, Enzo is gone. I don't even care anymore. I must say, though, it's an intergalactic effort from Mercedes, number 1, and Lewis Hamilton. But also Alex Albon. Credit where credit is due. That man put in an intergalactic shift to get Williams' first points of the season, his first points of the season, and get their name on the board. So excellent work from him. Williams are still last, unfortunately, so that's pain. But Mercedes are well and truly in the hunt now for Ferrari. And we're in no man's land. Oh, yeah, even though our race wasn't the greatest, Charles Leclerc... he didn't want it. The Monegasque driver then will soon fade into the shadows of shame as we get our acclaim boost, etc, etc, etc. And I don't really know why I'm sounding disgruntled, to be honest with you. We still got a podium out of that race and pole position, which means I'm kind of underwhelmed, I guess. But we still get all of our sponsor objectives. It's still a great result on the board for us, realistically. So I can't really complain. A podium and fastest lap to our name. At the end of the day, it's still good points. And we've got hella Munty mates. Oh, Enzo wants to renegotiate with us. Well, I mean, he has put in some awe-inspiring performances. I mean, never getting out of Q1, consistently at the back. He is consistent, and at the end of the day, he is consistently shit. No, Enzo is not re-signing for us. And after mulling through the options for about 6.2 seconds, I'm going to try and go and sign Jack Doohan. They call him the Australian Annihilator. But, as of this Grand Prix, at the end of this weekend, I call him my new Ribena Racing teammate. Ladies and gentlemen, he signs on the dotted line. Welcome, Jack Doohan, to Ribena Racing. Times are a-changing, and with a bit of zest in our department, we're going to look to get even more points on the board as this season goes on.
Oh, oh, nice.
Well, there you go then. A new teammate, a podium finish. It's surely the start once again of a great run for this wonderful, wonderful team. Ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy this episode of the MyTeam Career Mode, then be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new around here. Almost 90% of you are not subscribed to this glorious channel, and that makes me cross. But if you subscribe right now, I will forgive you at least a smidgen. Will we finally be back to winning ways at the Hungarian Grand Prix? Well, hopefully. But that's for you to find out. Until the next episode, once again, I thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. And until next time, I'll see you soon.